You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Live. This vaccine thing and the NFL is taking on a life of its own now that we have found out that there's not just a couple of players that do not want to receive the vaccine. Now, to be clear, neither myself or John Matrix are telling you what to do with your own body. And that's kind of the point of following all this. And the fact that we're going to see a competitive imbalance trickle across into the football field this year, which I think is total nonsense. Personally speaking, I think it's nonsense that employers are requiring this thing. I do believe that something like this vaccine should be a personal decision, and employers, frankly, don't deserve to know. That's my feeling anyway, okay? Again, if you've chose to get the shot, rock on. If you chose not to, rock on. But now, we've got a total breakdown. Yesterday, the Vikings fired Rick Dennison, an assistant coach, 20-something years of experience. Cole Popovich, any relation to Greg, I don't know. But he is gone from the Patriots. I think it was a mutual parting is the way they put it, but he didn't want to take the vaccine, okay? He's a coach. So I don't know a lower level coach, but you get the point. Essentially, the NFL forced these coaches into a corner where they basically can't do their job if they don't get vaccinated. Bruce Arians went out there and said, for every small COVID violation of an unvaccinated player, they're going to receive a $14,000 fine every time. When I think what's always lost in all this talk about the vaccine is the fact that you, technically speaking, can still get COVID and be vaccinated. What about those guys? What about if games are lost to vaccinated players that cause an outbreak? These are questions that we won't know until the season starts. And now we've got damn near a full-blown war in the Buffalo Bills. Cole Beasley is threatening the Bills, daring the Bills to cut him. He's getting into it with Jerry Hughes, a teammate. That's right after basically being called out by Stephon Diggs. And then we've got ex-Patriot Darius Butler, a 9-year defensive back. He's not in the league anymore, but he played 9 years. He was an NFL veteran. Him and Jerry Hughes goes at it with the Buffalo Bills about the fact that Darius Butler's not feeling great about this thing, okay? And, again, you've got the right to feel however you want to feel. We're certainly not giving you medical advice. Let's get to this because this has gotten wild. Bills teammates Cole Beasley and Jerry Hughes are now publicly arguing about the vaccines after the NFL announced new rules. The Buffalo Bills have a locker room issue when it comes to vaccines. On Thursday, the NFL revealed a memo that teams may be forced to forfeit if a game is rescheduled during the 18-week schedule due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players. Again, NFL, what happens if it's an outbreak among vaccinated players? Okay? Democrats just took a little trip out of Texas, where I'm from, and vaccinated Democrats actually had COVID. I'm just pointing that out. The team with the outbreak will be credited with the loss. And they're going to forfeit salaries, by the way. The NFL memo sparked plenty of debate among NFL players, and you would not believe the amount of players that aren't quite comfortable with getting the jab. And former players. On Thursday, Bills defensive end Jerry Hughes got into a back and forth with former NFL safety Darius Butler over the league's new rules. The NFL is dead ass wrong with the new memo they sent out to teams. What's new, though? Basically forcing these needles into players' arms at this point. Every player personnel should have a, quote, actual choice in the matter. They are sending a clear message today. And then Darius Butler says this. He says, I disagree. Not getting the vaccine is selfish, in my opinion. He says, I agree with you. I'm also of the thought that some medical decisions are selfish. It's a vaccine that absolutely no one has more than a year's worth of actual research on. I should take it not because I'm comfortable with it, because, question mark? And then so Jerry Hughes weighs in because now he's a medical expert. So the top scientists in the entire world got together to figure out how to combat COVID-19. And when they came up with a vaccine, you question them. They are trying to save lives and you have doubt? Are you serious, Jerry Hughes? Some people have underlying health conditions, so they are at risk if an outbreak happens. Wait, but Apple is just one company, not all tech companies in the world. I don't know what that means. Outspoken Bills wide receiver Cole Beasley, who has stated that he will not get vaccinated, chimed in to argue about the vaccines with his teammate. Jerry, so if a vaccinated player gives an unvaccinated player with underlying conditions COVID, it's cool though? And the player with underlying conditions gets blamed for it? From minority to majority, now the minorities don't matter. Hughes did respond, and he says, you would think someone with underlying health conditions would get the vaccine to prevent future complications if they got COVID. Now I understand freedom of choice, but our job has rules in place, and rules are rules. He's got a point there, okay? I mean, the NFL technically has a right to do it, I've said, but the question is, should they do it, all right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should go do something, all right? Doesn't mean like it feels morally correct to bounce in on somebody's very close personal bubble and their personal freedom and tell them what they literally have to put into their body. Wow. I mean, that's a slippery slope the NFL is on. And then and Jerry Hughes just kept going. But at the end of the day, rules are rules. There are a lot of rules I don't agree with, but I have to abide by if I want to stay out of trouble. You, my boy, no matter what, I'm not telling you what's right or wrong, and I'm not the one making the rules. I'm just following them so I can play ball and finish what we started last year with the Mafia cheering us on. Fun debate, bro. Okay. And you know what? I'll give Jerry Hughes some credit for at least coming back and saying, you know what, this is my teammate. I'm going to have his back, even if I don't agree. It seems like we need a little bit more of that in life to try to figure out all the issues we got going on in the world right now, and this is one of them, okay? So, again, my biggest issue with this is, A, you're infringing on some personal freedoms, and you're potentially taking money away, and you're upsetting the competitive balance of two teams that are about to play each other. Okay, NFL, I think, made a massive mistake. I said it the other day. A massive mistake not building in some actual makeup weeks, okay? I mean, you're still worried about this pandemic, okay? NFL, you're still worried about it. You're willing to cut coaches that have been around forever, all right? And Jerry Hughes, I'm sorry, but there are people out there that have underlying conditions they can't go get that. Okay? So, again, we're no medical experts, but that's what I've seen on the news, right? And, of course, all media is not great. I get that. But you get the point. This is going to cause a lot of problems in a lot of locker rooms. I also think it's interesting because you got John Feliciano that came out and slammed Fauci. Josh Allen a while back said, I'm not comfortable getting the vaccine. We're starting to really see some clear-cut indications of political leanings from players. Think about that. Not all, but some. All right. So that would also lead you to believe that there's some of this possible wokeness that we've seen. And I've said it before. There's players on these teams that don't agree with that. But they're just going along to get along. Quit doing it. Tell me what you think, Black and White Live fans. Make sure you subscribe here. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast, Black and White Sports, so you can listen to us at the office, drive, whatever you do. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.